Other than the budget shortfall, what do you feel is the single most important issue the Assembly needs to deal with in the coming year? I'll repeat the question. Other than the budget shortfall, what do you feel is the single most important issue the Assembly needs to deal with in the coming year? And the first speaker will be... And the first speaker will be Mr. Clayman.
They always say better late than never. And it's the most important issue. Certainly a reminder tonight, I had an earlier event and had to drive on the roads, and as we all know, they're very slick, and really the top of the other issues is public safety. And really at the top of the list on public safety as an Assembly issue is police and fire academies. We have an attrition rate of about 1 police officer and 1 firefighter retires every month, so in a year you typically have 12 or more retire from the police department, 12 or more retire from the fire department, and if we don't make the investment in training new firefighters and new police officers, what will happen over time is your force will shrink and you won't have new officers to come on. Your overtime pressure will increase, or you'll just stop providing the level of public safety that I think this community demands. And I think that's the greatest concern that the Assembly needs to be addressing and needs to address this year so that we don't find ourselves even further behind the 8 ball in the years ahead. And thank you for tolerating my late appearance.
Thank you. Mr. Trainee.
Same question, huh?
Same question.
From my perspective, I think the one thing we need to get the Assembly to do is working together. I was on there for 10 years, chairman 6 of those years, and we had the body working cohesively. For example, we redid all your pools in the school. Alan Tesh and I put together a program for Juneau to get the pools working in Anchorage. When Dan Coffey and I took a look at smoking, we joined together to ban smoking in this town. What we've got to do is get the Assembly working together. And then the other problems that we've got in this town can be dealt with when the Assembly deals with each other, not as whether you're a liberal or Republican, but that the pothole needs patched. The hole in the street needs fixed. And yes, we need new police coming on and new firemen going through the schools because we need them on the streets. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker will be Ms. Boer.
I think after the budget shortfall is tackled, the biggest issue, as someone who is looking to represent South Anchorage, is going to be for us is the Hillside District Plan, and also Title 21 are big issues that we need to resolve together as a community. But more than that, we need to start moving forward as a community. We need to stop being reactive and start planning ahead and really investing in moving forward, because I want this to be the same city that I grew up in 10, 20 years from now, and even better. And I think that, like Mr. Trainee said, if we have an Assembly who's more concerned with the people they represent than the next step in their political career, then we can get there. And we need to start planning ahead, and that's something that I'm really passionate about and that I think that we can do. And again, it's like many have said, is public safety is a big one. My father's been in law enforcement for upwards of 15 years, and I think that we need to return to just prioritizing and moving ahead together.
Thank you. The next speaker is Mr. Honeman.
Well, it's good setup with Mr. Clayman. I appreciate it. I have 25 years total working in policing, 23 years at the Anchorage Police Department. I was very proud that we went to the school resource program as we currently know it. At one time when I first started, we did have a school liaison program that wasn't staffed as it is today, but then we didn't have 8 high schools. I think it's kind of ridiculous when we're going to cut $150,000 from the fire departments for special operations and prevention of potentially, I mean, it's not about a what if, it's when we have another disaster, catastrophe of the nature of an airplane crash, someone getting lost or injured out in the backcountry. And oftentimes your paid responders or your first responders are the fastest, quickest there. They might have all the tools, but they can surely set up incident command. You're going to spend $50,000 to figure out what happened and how you didn't communicate well over a year ago on a budget problem. So I think public safety is number one. You can't have anything well if you're not going to have safe roads, safe schools, safe buildings, safe houses.
Thank you. Mr. Clary.
Well, as the question states, I agree that the very top priority is to fix the budget shortfall. That will be tough, and it needs to be done. Outside of that, you have the Title 21 rewrite. It's been 9 years in the making. There are strong opinions on both sides of the issue, and it's probably not a perfect plan right now, but I think it's workable and with some changes, and that will be coming up here very shortly. And outside of that, when the current administration went around and had their town hall meetings everywhere, the homeless public inebriate problem was, I saw, mentioned number one out of all the issues. And there's been a homeless leadership team that has been working very hard. Their recommendations are going to come before the Assembly shortly, and that will also have to be dealt with. Thank you.
Thank you. And Ms. Johnston.
Well, I'm pleased to say that when I ran last time, I said I was going to complete the Hillside District Plan, and this will be coming before us next month, so it will be done before my term's up. I do think Title 21 is very important because it's the fabric of our community. It's from Title 21 we get the idea of how public transportation works in, how bike plans, how trails, what the community looks like. And even though I'm a strong believer in public safety and everything else that we've talked about, the Title 21 is a fabric. One of the things people ask me if I enjoy being an assembly member, and I say, you know, the best thing about being an assembly member is there's nothing between me and the pothole. The worst thing about being an assembly member is there's nothing between me and the pothole.
Thank you very much. Well, that concludes the questions for this evening. And now we will, as I announced earlier, we're going to give each candidate 1 minute for a closing statement of their choice. And since we started from left to right the last time, we will start this time from right to left with Mr. Griffin.
Again, I'm Bob Griffin, running for Assembly, or for School Board seat B. I'm sorry, guys, I'm not down there in the Assembly.